a roadblock and cops all around a crime scene. One of the vehicles pulls up and starts revving to plow through the cops, going to kill a bunch of cops. One of the cops, he sidesteps and fires, kills the driver, saves unknown lives, goes home that night, takes his clothes off, and the left side of his leg is completely black and blue. He's been hit by a car and didn't know it. Just recently, the chief told me, he said, got one of my officers face down a suicidal kid. Cop's got a gun out, kid's got the gun under his chin.
Welcome back to Internal Affairs, a police podcast here with the IA guy. Another special guest. Now we're, you know what? I actually forgot to ask him what state, wonderful state of our nation where he's at right now, and we will. This will be Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman, retired from the Army. There used to be a joke, because I'm a Navy guy, as you may know, that the Army stood for ain't ready to be a Marine yet, is what I was told. And I know I'm getting a chuckle out of the Colonel here. He is the author, as you can see, of On Combat. We're going to talk about his book. Let's go Coach 6 with the Colonel. Dave, thank you so much for showing up, man. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Marlon. Truly my honor. Yeah, these are crazy times.
Yes,
but
yes, they
our
are.
military roots really provide kind of a framework for what we do.
Yes.
And what sustains us over the long haul there. In general, those guys who come back with some military background, they got a little bit of maturity and experience that carries them a little ways. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad to be talking IA, glad to be on board with your listeners. A critical topic.
Yeah,
And you're the only IA podcast I know of nationwide.
Yeah.
You're like an army of one there. You're rocking on.
Thank you, and I truly appreciate it. I want to talk about that, but before I get into that, where are we located?
Well, we live outside of St. Louis.
Okay, all right. So you're a big Cardinal fan, of course.
Yeah. I've never been a pro ball guy, whatever it is. I'm more of a local college team, but you can't avoid being with the Cardinals a little bit after you spend much time with there.
Well, I tell you, you know what? Had the Army college football team would have read your book, perhaps the score this last Saturday would have been worse than 31-13. But hey, they had a great season, right?
While we're talking sports, because this moves right into the IA world, the secret weapon across the sports community is sleep management. You got a team full of sleep-deprived guys and a team full of well-rested people, and they'll kick tail every time. And they're not talking about it. It's like the secret weapon all the way down to high school level, across the college level, and throughout the pro level, is managing their sleep.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is, the Air Force bought a bunch of the Aura rings. And all the Air Force pilots are wearing these rings now. We always mandated sleep time for pilots, but are they really sleeping? Well, now we're actually mandating sleep time. Going to be flying a $250 million aircraft tomorrow. Get enough sleep, Roger out. And what we're doing is we're tracking the sleep. So in the sports world, it's just kicking tail.
Yeah.
And what the coach does, he's got everybody wearing like the Aura ring, right? So what they tell me is like every time they try this, if one guy wears 10 rings and goes to bed, his buddies go party. But the coach catches on to that one real fast. And I tell you, that college world and that pro ball world, they're getting the most out. And that sleep is the hidden weapon. They won't talk about it because if they can get an edge on, if they can be doing this and the guy ain't, they're going to kick their tail from here to Sunday. And the same thing's true in military and law enforcement.
Yeah.
The sleep management. It's the elephant in the living room. It's the most important topic to talk about from the IA standpoint, and it really weaves into that sports world.
Let me ask you this, since we're talking about sleep deprivation, what's your opinions and thoughts about a police officer being alleged for sleeping on duty? Are we doing them a disservice, or do you think that should be an IA? What's your thoughts?
It is. But let's put it in perspective. I do a fair amount of work with NYPD, and I was in New York with the Postal Police, and they're good guys, and a lot of them come over from NYPD. And they say NYPD is broken, and they're so glad to get out of there. But they said the one thing NYPD does right is every precinct has a sleep room, just a dark, quiet place where you can crash.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you're just falling over asleep, then go crash.
Yeah.
And they said with the postal police, they catch you one time sleep on duty, boom, you're out.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, that's an area. So here's two different ways to handle the situation. Recruiting is down, retention is down, morale is down. Guys are working double jobs and double shifts.
Yeah.
They fall asleep on the job. But here's the key thing, and this is huge. This is the heart of the whole matter. Being sleep deprived is just like being drunk. Now, after 24 hours without sleep, it impairs your judgment. It makes you stupid, just like 0.10 blood alcohol level above legally drunk. Now, if somebody's short at work drunk, he's like, oh, we're short on manpower, put them on the street. No, you never do that.
Yeah.
And if you're drunk in an hour or two, you won't be.
Yeah.
If you sleep deprived an hour or two, you'd be just that much worse. And you put your finger on really kind of the symptom instead of the disease. It's falling asleep on duty.
Yeah.
We have got to get a grip on this. It's just like airline pilots and truck drivers and 20 other professions required by federal law to get enough sleep. If I were king and I could mandate one law, I would mandate sleep for all first responders. Then we wouldn't have enough. Well, then hire more and pay them more, and we will. But folks, it's better to have no cop than a drunk cop. Can we all agree on that?
100%. Spot
Better to have
on.
no cop than a sleep deprived cop.
Yeah.
Now, the sleep deprivation, we're diving in here, is a key factor in suicide.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge factor. Do an online search, sleep deprivation, suicide. Boom, it'll explode on you. The data is overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Now, right now, you cannot take your life. It's physically impossible. You can no more take your own life than you can with your eyeball look at the back of your head.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is alcohol has always been the catalyst. Got all these other problems. You add alcohol, and now you're able to overcome that resistance. Alcohol is a catalyst that made suicide possible. It's almost always an ingredient in suicides.
Mm-hmm.
But we now know that sleep deprivation does the exact same thing. Now, we lose more cops to suicide than every other line of duty death put together. Chief Neil Gang is probably our nation's leader on that.
Uh-huh.
The data's there. If we gave a damn about suicide, the first one we'd be homing in on is sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
Sleep deprivation is a key factor in traffic deaths. Two major killers of cops, suicide and traffic deaths.
Yeah.
And we give a damn about those, just like truck drivers required by law to get enough sleep, but cops aren't. And then sleep deprivation is a key factor in mental illness. Oh, we got to do something about mental illness. Sleep. Yeah. It's like this great gaping wound in our whole civilization. Yeah. And here's the key. Your body needs four things to live. You need air, you need water, you need food, and you need sleep. Mm. And without those four things, your body will die. Now, the body knows how to make us get air, food, water. Try to go without air, food, or water. Your body will take over it. But the body doesn't know how to make us get enough sleep. It always happened naturally. It's a biological blind spot. It got dark, so nothing to do. A little sex, a little talking, and went to sleep. Now we got television and these incredibly addictive video games and these immersive social media and binge watching shows. The head of Netflix said their competitor is sleep. Their corporate policy is just steal your sleep. They don't care that it's killing people. Now, look at sleep deprivation, do an online search. Sleep deprivation, mental illness, boom. Sleep deprivation, suicide, boom. Not only is sleep deprivation a key factor in suicide, it's the most remediable factor. We can't do much about your relationship, your finances right now, but we can get you a good night's sleep right stinking now. Sleep deprivation, key factor in mental illness, key factor in opiate overdoses. Now, why opiates? Why? Prescription opiates have always been there. Mm-hmm. Why are they the drug of choice? And fentanyl. Fentanyl's an opiate. Fentanyl kills 70,000 to 80,000 Americans a year. And if it were Narcan, that number would be much higher. Right. Well, you see, sleep deprivation creates chronic pain. Mm-hmm. If you have bad night's sleep, you hurt. Well, all that sleep deprivation creates pain. Doc, I hurt all the time. Give me a pill if you don't need a pill. Yeah. You need more sleep, and you got to knock off the caffeine. These mega doses of caffeine. We're in the middle of a global epidemic of sleep deprivation and a global epidemic of caffeine abuse. So I taught a East Texas School Safety Summit all across East Texas, school safety people. I said, we're going to talk about being safe from murders, but I'm willing to bet none of you probably had a murder in your school.
Hmm.
I bet you had suicides. I
Yeah.
bet you've had traffic deaths. I
Yes.
bet you've had mental illness.
Hmm.
Oh, what can we do about mental illness? Sleep. What can we do about suicide? Sleep.
Yeah.
And when my second grade teacher told us cigarettes kill people, I went home and hid my dad's cigarettes. When our elementary teachers teach us, now there's just three, there's a lot more involved here, but three nuggets will give you the 90% solution. Number one, how much sleep do you need? As an adult, you need at least 7 hours of sleep a night. If you are not getting 7 hours of sleep, you're dying. It's like going without water, going without air, going without food. There's nothing macho, there's nothing tough
Right.
about going without sleep. Any 10-year-old on slumber party, you want to prove how tough you are, go without food for a while. That's actually good for you. Do a little fasting, go without food for 24 hours. See how that works. You want to prove you're tough? Yeah, like Ranger School, go without food for a couple of days. See how that works. But sleep deprivation, number one, how many hours you need. Number two, you've got to sleep in total darkness. I'm a huge science geek. My favorite website, sciencedaily.com. Check it every day. Major study in the sleep lab. Totally dark room, bathroom light is on, and the door is shut. The light coming under the crack of the bathroom door is enough light to stop your body from producing the melatonin that you need. Melatonin is a hormone that lets us sleep. It's produced in total darkness. So wear a sleep mask. Amazon's Choice Sleep Mask, my personal favorite, last I checked, had over 80,000 five-star reviews for a stinking sleep mask. The one right behind it, my wife's favorite, got 65,000 five-star reviews for a stinking sleep mask. If you are not using a sleep mask, you're missing the number one life hack out there that you can run with right now. So sleep in total darkness. Sleep at least 7 hours as an adult. Your children need much more. And cut off caffeine shortly after lunch. Caffeine is enemy of good sleep. Guard your sleep, protect your sleep. The half-life of caffeine in your body is 5 hours. That means the caffeine you took at 5 p.m. is still at half strength and go to bed at 10 p.m. It's making you have bad quality sleep. Sleep deprivation is also a key factor in Alzheimer's. Huge, huge research on that. I'll sleep when I'm dead. You have a decade of Alzheimer's first, you idiot.
Yeah.
So the research is overwhelming. And the video games, the social media, they're all about going without sleep and stealing your sleep, binge watching TV shows. And it's a key factor in the sports world as you get a grip on that. And if we gave a damn about our troops, and the first thing IA should do, if IA finds out the guy was up 24 hours and he did something stupid, the entire chain of command should be held accountable. That's the only way we can get this to change is hold the chain of command accountable.
Yeah, no. I appreciate all that. Let's segue into internal affairs. You did mention that this was probably the only podcast that talks about internal affairs. I got to ask you, why do you think that there's such a negative stigma attached to internal affairs? No any different. You and I had a conversation about these Article 15s in the Army. I mean, why are we so hush-hush about, disciplinary matters and issues, but yet we're supposed to be transparent?
Yeah. Everybody resents intrusive authority to some degree or another. And we've got to recognize the fact that there's authority you have to accept in your life. And we fear accountability. And we get kind of a twisted message of what's happening out there. But the truth is, we know we're doing stupid stuff, and we live our lives in fear. For those who are walking a righteous path, there really isn't much to fear out there.
Right.
But here's the thing: IA is the representation of this greater and very legitimate fear of the media and the society attacking you.
Yeah.
And we should be on the cop's side. In many ways we are.
Yes.
But when we look at PTSD and what's happening, the actual incident is really not all that likely to create a post-traumatic response. It's the way it's treated.
Yeah.
And it's the way the media treats it, and the media judges them and attacks them. And that's eating them alive.
Yeah.
And when we look at a post-traumatic response, there's three factors in the equation. Number one, the amount of unresolved trauma in your life ahead of time. And if you're sleep deprived and a traumatic event happens, you're up to 5 times more likely to get PTSD. Look, if you're sleep deprived, the body's already under stress. You add a traumatic event, and you're 5 times more likely to get PTSD. You're 9 times more likely to have a depressive episode, and you're around 7 times more likely to have suicidal ideation. So if you're sleep deprived, the body's already under stress, and you add that trauma. But we got this dynamic of our society condemning the cop, and we got to understand that we put them in that situation. We allowed them to be sleep deprived, and then we wondered what happened out there. So there's 3 factors: unresolved trauma ahead of time, the trauma of the incident, and the support structure afterwards. And they amplify each other. So let's say, you have a 1 to 10 scale. So you're pretty squared away. You don't have any major issues going on. Say you're at level 2. And then the incident, it was traumatic, it was rough, but it's not a big deal. Let's call it a 3. So 2 times 3, you got a 6. Now that remaining factor, we're supportive, we give them the tools and the resources they need, and nothing's perfect. Call it a 2, right? 2 times 3 times 2 is 12. But if that attack on the other end is a 10, so 2 times 3 times 10, and all of a sudden you're 10 times more likely to this traumatic event. And it's did 3 factors. We got to control the amount of trauma ahead of time by making sure they're not sleep deprived. Better no cop than a drunk cop. Better no cop than a sleep deprived cop. We got to make sure that there is as ready as possible. Number 2, the actual incident has got to be as keeping the stress down. And we do that with realistic training. And what we're missing with realistic training is smells. When you rip open a human being, what does it smell like? Shit, and vomit, and piss, and blood. So when we do our scenarios, and this is legit now, don't get goofy here, that in the military, somebody takes a dump in a bucket and take a leak in a button. So that's it, and then puke, sodium butyrate. You have just tablets you can buy that creates a puke smell, easy enough. And maybe some blood smell. Good. I've had people that go to this, the stockyard and get some blood. But the shit is what gets the people. And one paramedic told me that vomit was his kryptonite, and you run into it all the time. So if we properly stress inoculate them, if we make sure their mind and body is ready ahead of time, and we keep those numbers low, and then we attack them and condemn them afterwards, it's hard. It's hard. So we got to look at all 3 of those variables in the equation.
Love it. Colonel, let me ask you about, you and I had this conversation the other day about critical incidents, OIS as being the most popular because those are the ones that happen more often. Talk to me about, let's stick with the subject of sleep deprivation because you did a great job flushing it all out and giving us some really good insight. How many cycles do you think one would need when they're getting ready to do their compelled interview with Internal Affairs? And let's just use a scenario where someone's been working graveyards for 3 nights in a row, right? They work 3 days a week, 12 hours a day. And on that last day, which we'll call our Friday, if you will, 2 hours before 6 a.m., they get involved in an OIS, and next thing you know, you've realized, right, or you have knowledge that they haven't slept since, 4 o'clock I should say probably 10 o'clock the day before. So now you're looking at about 18 hours plus when this incident happened. What would be your suggestion or your remedy for someone who is facing such facts?
You really need at least 1 good sleep cycle.
Okay.
And I'll tell you something else now. We talked about this before. In the state of Texas, is the law. Everywhere else is common sense. The cop should have the right to see every video before they make their formal written statement. Now, the world is going to play Monday morning quarterback. They're going to look at every video in slow motion time for every direction. So let's talk about what it's like for the individual in a life and death event. We've got tunnel vision. 80% are conscious of tunnel vision, but the other 20% haven't, just don't know it. Now, when we do our force on force engagements, if we're not videotaping it, we're losing the majority of the learning. You look at the video, oh, that guy was right in front of me. I never saw it. That's right. That was tunnel vision. You didn't even know it was happening. So you got things right in front of you that you do not see. They do not register. They're not there. And I think there's biological reason for this. You are a heat-seeking missile. The lion charging the prey is a heat-seeking missile. There's nothing in the universe but lock onto his target. Now, when we talk about that, we also have memory gaps. Half of all trained seasoned cops had blackouts. Just plain, and sometimes it comes back, sometimes it never comes back. I always encourage spouses to come to my training. And a cop and his wife in Kansas City came up to me a couple of years back, and she had to kill a guy. Now, while the cop was on duty, the bad guy came to the house to murder their family. That's the world we live in right now. We don't, last year was all-time record number of cops shot in the line of duty. All-time record number. People come to the house to murder the family. These are hard times.
Yes.
But Mama Bear, protecting her cubs, most dangerous thing on the planet. Cop's wife said, I killed that guy at Glock. And she said, I have never lost a second of sleep. And I believe her. And that way you'd want it to be. Most people in a lawful situation, they tend to feel bad. They don't feel bad.
Correct.
You understand?
Right.
If you could choose how they responded, you want them to feel okay.
Right.
But she said, you know what really bothered me? She said, I heard my voice on the audio recording my 911 call. And to this day, I have no memory of making that call. It was really bugging her. Wow. Then somebody showed me the book, On Combat, page 55. Look, it's in the book. Half of all trained seasoned cops have blackouts. Boom, she was okay. But wouldn't it have been better to know this ahead of time?
Yes.
We want to be vaccine and not antibiotics. Handful of vaccines for the cartel of antibiotics.
Yeah.
So the memory gaps. So one other thing is auditory exclusion. You don't hear the gunshots. And hunters, almost 100% of hunters will tell you they don't hear the shot and the ears don't ring. Now, in combat, it can vary greatly. You need to know, how in the world could we have had 500 years of gunpowder combat?
Right.
And not let people know the least thinking thing, like shots get muted. I've had many people tell me they don't hear the shot, but hear the brass hit the ground behind them. I've had people say the shots were there, but they were muted. And by the way, hunters, you're still getting hearing loss. Yeah. Wear hearing protection. I help deaf oldies like it's a pain in the butt. But this auditory exclusion, this slow motion time, I have had hundreds of people tell me they can see the bullet in combat. Now, it's not like the Matrix where it crawls past.
Yeah, totally. If I may interject, let me ask you this, Colonel.
Yeah.
So here we are at getting ready to do the compelled interview with Internal Affairs as it relates to your OIS. Right. You and I talked about this. You're a big proponent of watching body-worn video prior to the compelled interview.
I mean, I start every class with a Pledge of Allegiance. I said, okay, thank you, please sit down. What were the last three words you just said? Justice for all. Justice for all. And if our goal is justice, if our goal is the truth, you've got tunnel vision, you've got memory distortions. Yeah. About 1 out of 5 cops just flat remember things that did not happen. I'll give you some case studies of memory distortions that'll blow your mind. You got blackouts, you got memory gaps, you got memory distortions, you got tunnel vision. And then while you're calm and cool, you're going to sit there and watch that video over and over again and play Monday morning quarterback. If our goal is the truth, you got tunnel vision. Well, it was right in front of you. Why'd you lie about it? You've got memory gaps. Why didn't you tell us about that? You got memory distortions. 1 out of 5 just flat remembered something that did not happen. Yeah. Let me give you a couple examples on memory distortions. Young cop came up in Indiana about 3 years back now. He said, you're right, things are out of control. Young black officer, super squared away young man. He said, things are out of control. He said, I've been in 3 deadly force incidents just the last 2 years. He said, I want to talk to you about memory distortions. The last one, this guy's arms reach away and he pulls out a knife. Now, you start a knife fight, arms reach away, you're probably going to get cut. At some level, the cop said, I'm going to get cut, I'm going to keep fighting. He drew and fired, hit the spinal cord. That guy dropped like a bag of rocks. You know, in Hollywood, you shoot on the pistol, they fly away. It don't work like that. But I mean, you empty the magazine, and before he gets around to falling down, he hit that spinal cord, game over. The cop was never touched. But he said, I saw blood on my hands. I had this vivid memory of blood on my hands. The peer support guy came to pick me up. Peer support, amazing program. Went to the hospital. He was fine. Always go to the hospital. I was in Utah a couple months back. They had a roadblock and cops all around a crime scene. One of the vehicles pulls up and starts revving to plow through the cops, going to kill a bunch of cops. One of the cops, he sidesteps and fires, kills the driver, saves unknown lives, goes home that night, takes his clothes off, and the left side of his leg is completely black and blue. He's been hit by a car and didn't know it. Always go to the hospital. So on the way to the hospital, the guy, he said, my peer support good. My buddy said, dude, for the last time, there is no blood on your hands. Stop asking. That's how powerful the memory. I give you one more. Just recently, the chief told me, he said, got one of my officers face down a suicidal kid. Cop's got a gun out. Kid's got the gun under his chin. Cop knows the kid. Cop thinks he can take the kid down. Finally, the kid says, okay, I'm not going to do it. Dropped his gun. Cop puts his gun down. Boom. Kid kills himself. Cop said, I had an accidental discharge. I shot him. No, you didn't. Your weapon never discharged. The entry wound was here. His weapon, it wasn't you. No, I shot him. No, you didn't. The coach said, when we went into the grand jury, I had to coach him. Now, here are the facts. The fact is that you never fired a weapon. We studied that. The fact is that entry wound was here. The fact is that his weapon, these are the facts. Go into the grand jury and tell them the facts. The chief said he did that, and he came out and he said, Chief, are you sure I didn't shoot him? That's how powerful the memory distortions can be. And the only thing that's going to allow you to understand the truth is that video. And we've got to recognize the limitations of human beings and life and death events.
Yeah.
We got to prepare them for these things ahead of time. And then we got to recognize that if our goal is the truth, and we give that statement, and there's memory gaps and memory distortions and tunnel vision and auditory exclusion, we've got to make allowances for the limitation of the human being we're put in that situation.
Oh, yeah. It's, there is a lot of studies, of course, you and I both know about Dr. Lewinsky for Science. There is this, they're huge on perception. And my partner who teaches with me, a Savage Training Group, we create this little bit of controversy in our class with all these internal affairs investigators and even officers. It's kind of like a hybrid class, our officer-involved shooting class, where we pose that, hey, do you watch body-worn video before the compelled interview, or you don't? And, we have different thoughts of school. And I don't know. Sometimes I lean towards perception, but I'm with you. I never thought of it as justice for all. And if we are going to seek justice, then it's the truth, right? I mean, we want to be accurate.
Yes.
The way I see it is something along the lines like, look, you're going to be in this compelled interview. Then you have a civil litigation. You might get deposed. So here comes another interview, right? Because you're being deposed. Well, hold on a second. You might get criminally filed on. So here comes criminal allegations. And granted, you might not take the stand, but still, it doesn't matter. You're going to go through a series of these interviews, right? And you telling the story. Yep. And for whatever reason, if any of these statements that you make are inconsistent, or let's say they were prior consistent because you stuck to the same story, I don't know, man. I think it creates a lot of controversy and personal.
There's your anger at IA. They're sleep deprived. They haven't seen the video. You set them up to fail. Yeah. And then you wonder why there's this anger at internal affairs.
Yeah, no.
If we're truly seeking the truth, if we're truly seeking their wellness and justice for all, if we're seeking the truth, then there's a better way to come about this thing.
Yeah.
And even now, what are we doing with the pro ball, right? We got a professional referee who looks at the situation.
Yeah.
And then they can go back and see the video and see what, and here's a professional referee whose job it is to do this and makes a bad call, but we do the video playback and we change the call. So it's in sports, it's true.
Yeah.
It is evil. It's just evil
Yeah.
for us
Yeah.
to not allow people to see those videos before they make this statement.
Yeah.
And these are the kind of things, oh, how come people don't like IA? Boom, there's one for you right there. You should be fighting for this. The data's on your side.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. Colonel, let's move on, man. Talk to me. What's going on with this book? I know you've written a couple. Talk to me about this On Combat book. What's this all about?
yeah.
And
Well,
what actually led
it's
for you to
probably
actually
one.
write this book?
Yeah, I recommend for look. My first book was on killing.
Mm-hmm.
It's international supported, translated in 9 languages. Half million copies sold. Google scholar.google.com. Look up any published paper or book.
Uh-huh.
See how much it's been cited for other books. It's been cited over 3,700 times in English in scholarly works. But the follow-up, I was young buck sergeant, 82nd Airborne Division, 1974. We have Vietnam vets all around us. Want to know what combat was like. We'd ask them, they wouldn't say. They wouldn't say what combat was like. And I thought was that the Corps was killing. But I found out for those who fully prepared themselves, taking the life's not that big a deal. What's important is what's in this book.
Mm.
So I got out of the Army in 98, and I was training cops nationwide. And the war began 9/11. And all of this stuff from the police world, I was able to roll into the military.
Okay.
And we're talking tunnel vision, auditory exclusion, memory gaps, memory distortions, and aftermath dynamics. And we hit the ground. When I first started doing it, 9/11, I thought, who the hell am I? They trained a bunch of special forces just came back from the invasion of Afghanistan. Who the hell am I?
Yeah.
They trained, the SEAL Team 6 and Delta Force, But what I found out was the more combat they have, the more they value information.
Yeah.
And when the war began, it was info. So this is the book I wrote for my son going to his first combat tour. Now, my boy has had 9 combat tours and just retired. I got a grandson deployed to Kuwait right now. This is a book my grandson read before he enlisted. If it's been translated a bunch of languages to Ukraine. It was translated to Ukrainian, won the Book of the Year award. And in May and June of this year, the Ukrainian government brought me out to train Ukrainian troops across Ukraine. And I talked to them about tunnel vision and auditory exclusion and slow motion time. They're like, whoa, yeah, that's what's happening. That's what's happening. And I said, it's all in the book. Get the book. So that's the book you got there. And then we took it a step further. I've actually got 16 published books, but
Wow.
they're on spiritual combat. Because again, we're a battle against forces of evil.
Yeah.
We might need a force for good.
Thank you for that. I'll definitely keep this handy for me.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
That's a short version. I got, like I said, 16 books we can talk about on hunting. You cannot understand who we are. You can't understand combat, understand killing, without understanding hunting. What it means to us as a species. If as a species, we're in existence for 24 hours, up until the last 6 minutes, all we did was hunt. It's what we're wired to do. And you can't understand how we respond to stress without understanding that dynamic. So many more a bulletproof marriage. Roll your faith into your relationship.
Yeah.
And a Christian Book Award finalist. So just finding different ways to get the information in the hands. I call this a warrior renaissance.
Okay.
We're an explosion of knowledge. 500 years of gunpowder combat. And we just not let people know, hey, the shots will get muted, yeah?
Yeah.
But here's the important part now. I was in Ukraine. I had a short window. They can't bring a bunch of people together. It becomes a target, right?
Right.
I'm going up from one end of the nation to the other, training 20, 30, 40, 50 people at the most, 2 or 3 times a day. And I had a limited window to give them life and death information. First was sleep, the need for sleep management. Oh, you won't believe what was happening. We had like this company commander, right? That level of leadership. He said, well, you never know when the Russians are going to bomb us. You can't sleep. So I play video games instead of that. His friends were like, ooh, do you hear what you're saying? You're rationalizing here. Another group. Guy said, well, I have terrible nightmares. So I watch movies so I don't sleep, don't have nightmares. Your friends are, dude, are you hearing yourself right now? But the primary thing that I gave them was the sensory distortions in combat, tunnel vision, and the auditory exclusion, the slow motion time, the memory gaps and memory distortions. But here's the key. You've got to get together afterwards and talk about what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need no stinking debriefing. Yeah, but you have the information that allow your buddy to live with what happened. I was
Yeah.
with a Navy psychiatrist recently. He was treating a young Marine who'd been shot up pretty bad in Iraq, but he was still in country. And the Marine told this doc, he said, I didn't take the shot at this guy. This guy killed my buddy. And I let him down. I didn't take the shot. And I let him down. His friends all gathered and said, dude, you weren't even on that part of the perimeter.
Yeah.
You could not have shot. And here's this memory distortion. Now, the only person on the planet that can say, no, man, that didn't happen. The people were there with you.
Yeah.
This business of getting together and doing the debriefing, we hold each other's lives in our hands in the incident, and we hold those lives in our hands after the incident. Now, here's the key. As you talk about what happened, every time you start to become emotional, here's the key. In a traumatic event, the body creates a short circuit. And every time you think about it, the sympathetic nervous system kicks in.
Mm.
Well, now listen, this is important. The DSM, the Bible of psychology, tells us it isn't until it lasts at least 30 days we say it truly is post-traumatic stress disorder. Every single one of the symptoms is normal. It's only when it lasts 30 days to say, okay, now we have an abnormal reaction.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the incident and you begin to re-experience it. Your voice gets choked up. You start panic. Stop. Take a big swig of water. And that big swig of water is a powerful tool that pulls you from fight or flight, sympathetic nervous system, to feed and breed, rest and digest, parasympathetic processes. The path to healing is to separate the memory from the emotions. And IA, when you're doing the interview with this guy and he begins to re-experience the event, you are sending him down the path of mental illness. Put that bottle of water in front of him. And every time they start to become emotional, make them take a big swig of water and begin the process of separating the memory from the emotions.
Got it.
This healing, this afterwards.
Yeah.
And you can destroy a human being afterwards when you send them down the path of mental wellness.
Yeah.
I told my cops, look, you're getting a witness statement from the victim of a crime. If that individual becomes emotional, A, you don't need all that drama, but B, they're moving down the path of mental illness. They're associating the memory with the emotions.
Yeah.
But put a bottle of water in front of them, just the power of a gift. Put a bottle of water in front of them. And every time they start to become emotional, make them stop. The big swig of water. A, you send them down the path of mental wellness. You teach them from the very beginning to separate the memory from the emotion. But B, you're getting the calm, rational statement that you need. So we got to understand that we can destroy a human being. We can kill them just as certainly if you put a bullet through their head by how we deal with them after the incident. And our goal, our solemn, sacred obligation for the human life placed in our hands is to help them separate the memory from the emotions.
Yeah.
Now, you put that bottle of water in front of them. If that don't do it, Doc's got all kinds of tricks to help you separate the memory from the emotion.
Yeah.
But the first part of the process is that. And that long-term, within days and over weeks even, separate the memory from the emotion, get on with life. And that's the path of healing.
That's awesome. Hey, Colonel, thank you so much for sharing. There's a science to all this, and truly, we really appreciate it. Let's talk about, talk to me, Grossman on Truth, the website. Is that where we can find all this information?
Yeah, thanks for asking. GrossmanOnTruth.com. All of my books are there. We'll sign them for you. They will personalize them for anybody. Great gifts for people, birthday gifts, Christmas gifts. We got a lot of stuff on the website, GrossmanOnTruth.com. I had a lot of presentation I'm doing. I'm on the road a couple hundred days a year.
Okay.
I think I'm the only law enforcement trainer to ever be state certified in all 50 states.
That's awesome.
It's been a great ride. I'm 68 years old. I want to do it for another 20 years.
That's awesome to hear.
And here's the key. I asked my cops, why do we stay in the fight? Why do we stay in the fight? In this current environment, well, I'll tell you why I stay in the fight. I waited home for my bride of 49 years, my high school sweetheart, and my grandkids. And I got a grandson deployed, and believe it or not, will be great grandparents. And we believe if we love our family, if we love our nation, if we love our God, we give 100%.
Yeah.
See, love means the worse it gets, harder you fight.
Oh, amen to
And if
that.
we truly love our God and love our country, and if we love our fellow man and we love our family, then we'll do everything in our power to make the world a better and safer place.
Yeah.
And nobody does that better than a cop.
Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Okay, look, I'll leave the floor up to you. We're almost at the end of this. Any advice you have for anyone who wants to become a cop or, join the military? What kind of advice do you have?
I wrote the book, dude. The book is Marine Corps Commandant's Required Reading List. Here we are. The Marines get some coloring. They get some crayons with it, too, yeah. But we got they eat the crayons, right?
Yes, they do.
We got the Marine Corps Commandant's great honor of my life. The Marines are really great readers. They're very, very intellectual. It's all the time on board ship, I do the audio recordings I do the narration of all my books. And here's the book. This is one I wrote for my son and now my grandson in Kuwait. And then the following one is this one.
Okay.
In the end, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. We're in a battle against forces of evil. And one of the pillars of resiliency around the world is faith and being able to leverage your faith into your relationship and into your job. So the advice, I literally wrote the book for that very purpose, and I commend it to your attention. But the first step in resiliency is to know your sacrifice for a noble and worthy purpose.
Yeah.
And there is no more noble or worthy endeavor. Jesus said, greater love is no one than this. They lay down their life for their friends. So what manner of love is this? That men and women lay their life down for strangers.
Yeah.
We hear that verse one more time. Greater love is no one than this. They lay down their life for their friends. But there are many ways to lay down your life. And sometimes the greatest love is not to sacrifice your life,
Right.
but to live a life of sacrifice.
Yeah.
Praise God.
Yeah. Praise God, for sure. Colonel, man, thank you. You and I can have these conversations. Please look me up when you come here to Los Angeles. Let's set something up and get you in the studio. We'd love to have more conversations.
Hey, God bless you and God bless America.
Absolutely. Hey, like always, please be safe out there and don't forget to go Code 6. Thank you.